players.
That's the inside game that Scott Hastings used to do. Now this is the jump shooting game of Michael Porter Jr.
Talk about him being decisive, making up your mind quickly.
At 5. Embiid doubles, steps back from it, and switches.
Never did.
Lakers defense to offense again. Dino, James, throw it down, King.
Lost it on the way to the rim. Here's Brunson in transition, right-handed layup. He's got 41. The Knicks lead it by 12.
Giannis has got it. Brunson from behind. Giannis! Wow! Dropping of the sledgehammer.
4 minutes into our game. Tatum. Just blew right past Mark Williams.
The 7'3" Kristaps Porzingis. Bam, obviously a very powerful frame.
Gathers it in. Pocket 3. Curry 3.
Oh, there's the beam!
Late in the shot clock, 4 seconds. Got it from Kleba. Again late in the clock. In desperation.
Down the lane, elevates and detonates at just the right time.
Happy holidays, everybody. Welcome back to the All Things Basketball podcast. Gus is here on the pod again. Welcome back to the pod. Thank you so much. This is going to be a pretty good episode. We did one last year on the Christmas games. This one is actually obviously on video, so I'm glad you made it. We're going to go ahead and do these in order. We're basically going to pick the winning team. We're going to talk a little bit about, give a little kind of explanation, like maybe a little breakdown of each team, kind of how they've been doing. We don't have to go too deep because we don't want the episode to be too long. But pretty much, I guess we could start with the top of the hour, the first game. I'll give you the floor for the first one. So 12 o'clock, that's the first game. Obviously, fun fact though, this team actually plays today. The Knicks play the Bucks today. So
I noticed that too when I was looking at the schedule. It's the exact same game. And I feel like the NBA has been a little lazy this year. You've been seeing a lot of back-to-backs. Like I know I saw that with the Heat.
Like teams playing each other.
The Heat played Chicago at Chicago 2 days in 2 times, and then also at home 2 times. So I feel like they're not getting creative with the schedule.
Okay. I actually like it, to be honest.
It feels like a little playoff.
I like it because it kind of forces a little bit of beef sometimes between the teams because they're seeing each other a little more often sooner.
I agree.
So I actually kind of like it. But what do you think about this, though? Obviously, like we could probably do, I don't know, you could probably do the Knicks side of things, or you could just give me both sides. I don't really.
So when I looked at this game, I'm like, man, this looks like it's an easy pick. Obviously the Knicks just lost Mitchell Robinson possibly for the rest of the year.
That's right.
Then they lost one of their backup centers, Jericho Sims. With the same injury too, which is weird.
Yeah, ankle stuff.
Yeah, so they got Taj Gibson coming off the couch. That I'm not,
He's 38 years old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the Bucks are rolling. I don't know if you've seen them.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have, of course. But they had a terrible start, but somehow, some way, they're half a game behind Boston.
Yeah.
They won 6 in a row. They're still really bad on defense. The Bucks.
Agreed.
The Knicks, they're same as last year they had I think a top 3 offensive rating, and they have relatively the same team. This year they're not as good, but they're still top 10.
Yeah.
In offensive rating.
Yeah.
Mediocre on defense, but needless to say, I don't see how they can beat the Bucks.
I mean, honestly, so they're gonna play them today, right? So we'll get a nice little cheat sheet kind of sample size, them playing against each other. Even though I do have a couple of notes here on their couple of matchups before, right? They played December 5th. The Bucks won at home, 146-122. That was just destruction. The Knicks went to the line 33 times that game, though, which is surprising to see because they lost such a big amount. They lost by such a big amount. Then they played again November 3rd, 110-105. Bucks win again at home. Quick numbers for the Bucks here for you. They love playing against the Knicks, apparently. 51% from 3 the first time they played them. 60% from 3 the second time. Giannis is averaging 28.5, 64% from the field, 8 assists, 8 rebounds against those Knicks. So, Dame, 29 points, 64% from 3. Giannis gets to the line 11 times a game. There's no Mitchell Robinson, like you said.
Exactly.
You picked the Bucks, right, on this one?
Yeah. I just don't see a way that the Knicks could, especially now without Mitchell Robinson. I don't see a way that they can actually beat the Bucks.
It's gonna be free reign inside for Giannis. It's just gonna be.
And I know they're probably gonna put Josh Hart on Dame, but Josh Hart, while he is a good defensive player, I don't think he's a stopper by any stretch.
Okay.
So, and I think that's probably the reason why Dame is having so much success against the Knicks.
So we both go Bucks. Kind of wanted to talk about something. You talked about the defense with the Bucks. 20th in defensive rating. This was a good defensive team last year. So I get that they don't have Drew Holiday anymore, but that doesn't jump you down that far, in my opinion. I don't think loss.
I disagree. I think that Dame is a bad point of attack defender. Compared to Drew. They also have a different coach, a rookie coach. That, these numbers are a little bit skewed because they had such a terrible start at the beginning. They were trying to do like a switch heavy defense. Then they decided to change it back to drop.
They swapped.
And I feel like, you fast forward a couple months, and I think that number is going to look a little bit more mediocre, maybe middle of the pack.
But 20th?
I mean, they're killing it on offense, though.
Obviously, their third offensive rating. The pace is up. They're at 4th right now in pace. But there's one thing I definitely don't like besides the defense. It's the isolation frequency. These guys are 6th in isolation. Part of that is because you get Chris Middleton isolation plays, right? He likes those. Giannis, he kind of puts his head down a little bit to go to get to the rim. Then you get those Dame isolation plays. So that really,
absolutely,
and it's surprising to see. Obviously the offense is as good as it is. They put a lot of points up. They're putting up, I'm not even sure. I think they're like in the 120s per game. But I guess we both go Bucks. So I guess we can move on to the next team, unless you want to add a little something else into this matchup.
Somehow, some way, I'm going to be rooting for the Knicks.
Yeah?
I never root for the Knicks. But
okay, me neither.
I feel like the Heat have a nice little rivalry. With the Bucks.
Okay.
So, if we could see them lose. Actually, you know what? I wish that they could both lose.
What?
Because the Knicks are right above the Heat in the standings. So if they lose the next two games against the Bucks, the Heat potentially could be, number 5.
Kind of move up a little.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. That's like a selfish motivation. Okay. So we can move on to the next one. Warriors Nuggets, 2:30 p.m. I decided to go with the Nuggets. I mean, I don't think we're gonna disagree on that one. When you look at the Warriors, they're middle of the pack offense, middle of the pack defense. 26th in turnovers. They're 27th in fouls. It's just like
it's a weird season for them.
They're not good at anything right now, aside from the assists, right? Like that's always something that you'll still see up there. But it's like, again, they're just not good at a particular thing right now. And they kind of have found a little bit of something, right? They've won a couple of games now in a row. Klay Thompson's found his shot. Kuzminski, I hope I'm saying his name right. He's been really good for them. Two-way player, 40% from 3. I think Kuminga's been pretty good. Steph, obviously, he's been awesome. But, when you're looking at these two teams, they're both they're just in different paths right now.
They are, but this is the reason why we love this sport. Because whenever there's like a bit of a rivalry, and I'm not saying that the Warriors and Nuggets are a rivalry, but they've met each other in the playoffs in the past. It just so happens that the Nuggets and the Warriors games are always relatively close.
Yeah.
Just earlier this year, it was a 108-105 win for the Nuggets.
Yeah.
And you would say, well, this time Draymond Green is not playing. Well, Draymond Green didn't play that first encounter.
Neither did Jamal Murray.
That is true.
So that's a big one. That's a big piece.
But, Curry was held down to 23 points.
Yeah.
He usually averages 27 against the Nuggets.
Yeah, it was a struggle for the Warriors in that game.
Yeah, so he shot well from 3, but,
yeah,
I still think that, this is the type of team that could give the Nuggets issues, a team that can shoot threes.
Yeah.
The Nuggets allow the 4th most 3-pointers.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
If you get the Warriors that have, the hot hand, I can see this being a win for them. So, and, we usually never see the favorites always win. I feel like there's gonna be an upset somewhere in this list.
Yeah, and this is at Golden State, right? Or is it at? It's at Denver. It's at
Nuggets,
Denver.
yeah.
Okay.
But the last game was also at Nuggets, and it was a close game.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm gonna take the Warriors.
You're taking the Warriors?
Yeah, I think that they're gonna pull it off.
Okay. Well, man, I mean, I get it. Like, obviously, Steph can just go off, and they can beat anybody.
That's true.
That's just how it goes for this team sometimes. The reason I'm gonna go Nuggets, I think it's the steadier team. They've got everything identified. They have the depth, whereas the Warriors don't really have a lot of depth, in my opinion. They found something with this guy. What's his name? Let's see. It's
Kuminga?
Trace. No. Trace Jackson Davis. They picked him 57th in the draft, and all of a sudden, he's blocking shots, he's catching lobs. He's looking pretty good for them. Who knows what he's going to be, but he's definitely someone they need. He's 6'9", he has size. I don't know. Obviously without Draymond, it's a big loss. I would go Nuggets just because I feel like, one, it's obviously the safer pick, and two, they're the better team. So it's kind of hard to go against just that standard. Top 10 defense, top 10 offense, They
definitely are the better team. However, I do feel that, the Warriors have had a tough schedule this year. A lot of dysfunction.
Yeah.
And even then, they're still at 500.
Yeah.
They won 4 in a row. I just have a feeling that this could be their breakout game, right?
Maybe they get like a little spark because they're happy they're playing on Christmas.
Yeah.
It's like what you're hoping about. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I think KCP, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, like these guys are big, man. And it's such a mismatch for the Warriors, in my opinion. Obviously the pace, the Nuggets play a really slow pace. They're 27th in pace, but that's because, they're running handoffs. They're kind of a little more precise with the way they run offense. A lot of it is inside out. So I don't know. I feel like I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I feel like to me, it's an easy pick to bet on the Nuggets. They're at home. You get that elevation factor. You get the crowd going. It's just, if the Warriors win, in my opinion, obviously it would be an upset, So I'm glad we're split on that. Is there anything else you want to add to this one before we move on?
No, I think you pretty much hit it. Yeah, like it's obvious that the Nuggets are the better team. They're the steadier team. But I feel like the Golden State matchup is one that they could probably take advantage of.
Yeah.
If the three is falling.
If the threes are falling. Yeah.
Because they have 2 of the best shooters in the league's history.
Yeah.
So
that's always accounted for.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like the NBA is like this nowadays, right?
Yeah.
It's a what is it?
Make or miss.
Make or miss.
Yeah.
Usually the team that has a hot hand from 3 is usually the one that's winning.
That's how it's become, for the most part. And it's funny that you mentioned that because before we move on to the next game, Nuggets, they don't take a lot of threes. They're 26th in 3-pointers attempted. Yet they're at like 37% or so from 3 as a team. So they shoot the ball well, so that's something that I like about the Nuggets. They don't succumb to just shooting a bunch of threes, but they make the ones they take. So, definitely something to look out for. I like that about that team. Quick little shout out before I move on because I made sure to put a note of that. Peyton Watson. I don't know if you know him, but he's a second-year player for the Nuggets. Sizable. I think he's like 6'7", two-way player, defense. He looks like he could be one of the best bench players for them down the line. I think Nuggets fans are really excited about that guy for sure. I'll have some clips on him during this video, kind of give the viewers a little bit of some watching experience of that guy. So yeah, I guess we can move on to the next one. I'll give you the floor for this one. This is the 5 o'clock one. We're probably going to be split on this one. This is the one I thought we were going to be kind of on different sides. So I'll let you,
See, this one I had a really tough time picking because this one, kind of like the Bucks Knicks, it almost looks very easy on paper. We have a team in the Celtics as a juggernaut.
Yeah.
Top 5 defense, top 5 offense.
Mm-hmm.
They have the best differential.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you got the Lakers on the other hand. They lost 4 in a row. Every single time that you see them, there's some form of dysfunction or some injuries or something like that. However, I always see LeBron, bringing his A game, big national televised games.
Yeah.
So I feel like the Lakers are gonna pull this one off.
Okay.
For an upset.
And it's at home.
They always tend to play close though with the Celtics.
Yeah.
It's never like a blowout.
That's
win.
right.
Even when the Lakers are somehow struggling, they somehow, they come up big against the better teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right about that. So you're taking the Lakers?
I'm taking the Lakers.
Okay. This is an interesting matchup. This is the one that I wanted to talk about the most. Not because it's the Lakers or whatever, but it's because I see two teams on different sides of the spectrum, offensively specifically. The Lakers don't shoot a lot of threes. They're like 27th or 28th in three-pointers attempted. The Celtics are number 1 in three-pointers attempted. Everyone knows this team shoots a ton of threes. They love three-pointers. It's to a fault because there's a lot of games where they start to kind of miss, and then the opposing team kind of catches up. And obviously, like you mentioned, top 5 defense, their defense is really good. So it does keep them in games regardless. So it kind of masks those holes when they kind of, go on those cold stretches. But it's interesting because you see the Lakers, they prefer to score inside. It's a little more old school-ish because, like I said, they don't take a lot of threes. They're 5th in field goal percentage. They're 24th in three-point percentage. So, this is a team that can't shoot threes. They don't take many. Their calling card is defense. From these notes that I took a couple of days ago, 8th in defensive rating. Obviously, we know that's what kind of neutralized the Pacers. But this isn't the Pacers. This is a team that's as elite on defense as they are on offense. So that's going to be interesting to see. They allow the second least fouls. So they foul you the second least, the Celtics do. The Lakers foul the least in the league. So these are two teams that just won't foul you. They do a good job of protecting the rim. So, I'm kind of torn on this one. It's in a league where there's no rivalries like there used to be. This still seems to be the good old Lakers Celtics kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it still holds pretty solid, because when you watch LeBron, he gets up to play the Celtics. I mean, he's had his experience against the Celtics, right? He has his own history against the Celtics when he was in the Eastern Conference. Jason Tatum's a Kobe fan. I'm sure this game means a lot to him playing it in LA. So I think this could potentially be the best game of Christmas. I don't know if maybe the Warriors Nuggets one. I don't know, but I'm going to go with the Lakers. I'm on your side too. I think that if those threes aren't falling for Boston, the Lakers aren't going to mess around. They're going to get their points inside. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how this just boils over. You know?
Absolutely. And same thing, like I said, with about the Denver and the Warriors, the make or miss league.
Yeah.
And we've seen Boston shoot themselves out of a game.
Yeah.
Because they fall in love with the three and they just keep shooting and shooting no matter what. So if that ball is not going in, I can easily see this being a close game. And surprisingly, LeBron is shooting 39% from three. I am shocked at that number.
Yeah.
And still leading the Lakers in scoring.
Yeah.
At the prime age of 40. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But I to echo what you said, I think this game is going to be probably the best one. The one that's probably going to maybe go down the wire.
Yeah.
So didn't we have maybe it was a spring game last year against the Lakers against the Celtics?
Lakers-Celtics. Was it overtime game?
I can't remember if it went to overtime, but I remember there was some controversy because LeBron got fouled on one end.
Oh, yeah, and he was complaining about the no call.
It became a meme.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's... these teams always play each other close.
Yeah.
I had better expectations for the Lakers, but,
Yeah, we'll see. They've had some injuries, too, so...
They have.
Yeah, a little bit of that. Quick thing on LeBron. Total points leader, obviously 460 points on Christmas. He's first in assists, 119 assists. Second in rebounds, 130 of those. Second in steals, 26 of them. This dude's just a Christmas monster.
Yeah,
and he does play really well against the Celtics, so that's going to be interesting. Quick little point before we move on to the next game. Celtics, talked about they love the threes. Another little thing that I'm not a fan of with these guys, especially they have so much talent. They probably have the most talented 5-man starting lineup out there.
Mm-hmm.
5th in isolation frequency. So you're getting a couple of Drew Holiday, isolation plays. Sometimes he'll like to kind of get his little post-ups, right? Kind of get a little heat checky sometimes. You get those Tatum isolations. You get the Jaylen Brown isolations. This team kind of toes that line of ugly kind of panicky offense, right? Where it's like, let's give it to Tatum, and then Tatum just kind of figuring, like when the threes aren't falling, you kind of start to see them kind of force possessions in one-on-ones, and I don't really like that. These guys are obviously skilled enough to do it, and they have so much space because of the 5-out offense that it's tempting to want to play one-on-one because you have all that space. Help defense can't really show up. But I think that's something to look at for them too, as we get to obviously the playoffs, when it really matters.
Something also worth mentioning about Boston is that Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah.
I believe he got injured recently.
He did, yeah.
So he's likely not going to play for, on Christmas.
Which is a bummer.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're not going to see them at full strength.
And they're really going to need him for this
Anthony
matchup.
Davis, absolutely.
Yeah, for this matchup.
Then you're relying on.
That's a good point.
Al Horford.
Yeah. Still good, but not a guy you want to have out there for extended time. 8 p.m. start time. This is the prime time, right? Unless, you said it was 5 o'clock. I think you're right about that. Sixers Heat. I'm going to give you this one. I guess you can do like the Heat side of things. I have a lot of notes on the Sixers, so I don't know if you want to kind of do the Heat side. It's up to you.
We could do that.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. Give us your Heat take, Mr. Heat fan.
So the Heat have dealt with a lot of injuries this year.
Mm-hmm.
They have 16 different starting lineups in 28 games.
Okay.
You do that math. So it's essentially a different lineup every 2 games.
Yeah.
So they haven't had any real consistency other than when Tyler Hero first got injured, and they had pretty much some consistency, and they won about 7 or 8 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since then, they've been up and down.
Yeah. And they've looked good recently too, right?
They have, but then Jimmy Butler hasn't been playing, so
yeah.
The Heat, fun stat. Last year they were one of the worst 3-point shooting teams percentage-wise.
Yeah.
This year they're number 1.
Yeah.
If you could believe that, they're number 1% in 3-point shooting.
39%.
And the Sixers allow the 8 most 3-pointers. So I feel like that's the recipe for the Heat to win.
Yeah.
And for obviously Jimmy Butler to play.
Mm-hmm.
If Jimmy doesn't play, I don't see.
Is he listed as like game time decision or day to day?
So from the NBA app, he was listed as out. But,
right.
It hasn't been updated.
Okay.
It's a calf injury. Calf injury.
Yeah.
So those things could.
Those suck. Yeah.
Those could take a long time to heal.
They finally get their Christmas game, and he's
yeah.
That sucks. Because we were complaining about that last year.
Yeah,
the Heat hadn't gotten
there. They
there.
were Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, and no respect.
And then this year they went to the finals.
Yeah.
So they had to be rewarded.
Yeah.
Also, another fun stat: the Miami Heat are the winningest NBA team on Christmas. They're 11-2.
Well, shout out to those Heatles.
They've only lost to Michael Jordan's Bulls.
Okay.
And LeBron's Cleveland Cavaliers.
Wow.
So
what's their record?
11-2 on
wow.
Christmas.
That's awesome. What the hell?
Yes.
That's a great record.
Now, Embiid is 3-1 on Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'll let you go over his ridiculous season.
Yeah. So, well, you haven't given me your pick, though. Or are you waiting for my take to kind of make a pick?
Yeah.
You're going to wait for that?
I'll
okay.
wait for the end.
Okay, so I'm going to throw a little Bam thing at you, okay? Because I wanted to look at the advanced stats. I haven't watched a lot of Heat games this year. However, I've gone to a couple in person, and I've also watched a handful this year. It looks to me like he is way more confident shooting the ball in the mid-range. Now, that's the eye test, right? So then I go to the advanced stats, where you can kind of just track it, some extra stuff. Mm-hmm. From the mid-range, okay? Last year, 38.5%, okay? From 16 to 24 feet, 30.8%, right? Not good.
Right.
This year, okay? I'm not going to say it's good, but it's definitely improved. Yeah. Mid-range, 44.2% for Bam. 16 to 24 feet, 44%. We're talking a pretty nice jump, And it looks like he is not thinking so hard when he's doing those turnaround jumpers in the post, when he's got his back to the basket or when he's catching shooting. It looks a lot quicker. Like he's not thinking about it. I don't know how you see it.
Absolutely, and this is something that Heat fans have been begging him to do.
Yeah.
Bam has always shown flashes of being a decent offensive player.
Yeah.
And what would happen is that he would miss 2 in a row, and then he would just stop looking to shoot.
Yeah.
He would just look for the
handoff. Yeah.
And this may be a hot take, but Bam doesn't have the greatest hands. Sometimes when you throw a hot pass, he'll fumble it a little bit, and then he'll miss that opportunity to do a quick layup.
Yeah.
So obviously for him, he has gotten a lot better. As the kids say, he's in his bag.
He's in his bag.
He has a lot of fadeaways. He's confident shooting the fadeaways.
Yes.
A lot of pump faking. I'm very happy with his progression. Unfortunately, he's been dealing with a hip injury all year, and he came back. He came back after missing 7 games, and he hasn't looked the same. His efficiency has been down. His rebounding has been down. His defense is still pretty good, but he's never been a shot blocker. So people are just going to the rim, and
he's a good shot alterer. Kind of shows his body.
His defense shines during a switch.
He's physical.
Yeah, he's physical.
Very
he's big,
aggressive.
He's fast. He has a fast switch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
The eye test and the stats back it up that he has been better.
He's looks better. Scorer. He just looks better. And I don't even watch a lot of Heat games like that, but it was something that I caught on quickly. He definitely looks much better. So Sixers side of things, right? 5th in 3-point percentage. This team is shooting really well. Yes. Second in defensive rating. Second in offensive rating. This is a team that's just they look so good under Nick Nurse. The Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Nick Nurse era looks super promising. Sixers always look good in the regular season. I think it's a little different this year, though. I feel like I believe in them more this year than I did last year. And here's an interesting stat that I'm sure it's not going to surprise you. The pace last season, they were 27th in pace. A lot of the things that I complained about last year was because you have Harden out there, who doesn't exactly like to run too much, and then you have Embiid out there at the same time. Transition defense, transition offense, you kind of, you don't get a lot of that. Now they're 12th. That's a massive jump in pace. And part of that is because obviously the ball's in Maxey's hands more often, Of
course.
I see that Embiid really trusts Maxey. Like if you watch these Sixers games, he is like, Maxey will be bringing it up and Embiid will just wave Maxey like, just do your thing. He does that a lot. They get into this handoff stuff. They're super efficient together. It's an unstoppable 2-man action. Maxey's shooting 40% from 3. You got Embiid getting to the line 11 times a game. He's shooting 89% from the free throw line. Maxey gets to the line and he knocks down, I think, like 90% of his free throws. Yeah. So it's like, this is a team that puts you in foul trouble. Maxey's constantly challenging the transition defense. So they're like putting a lot of pressure on you guys. And Maxey's making good passes. Like I think he's at 6.7 assists per game. I don't have the number in front of me. But he's also
6.9.
Yeah, and a lot of that is obviously the dump off passes to Embiid. They do a little 2-man game, but he's also making good skip passes. Like he'll make the defense collapse now because there's more of a scouting report on him. The teams are respecting him more, so he's really making the right passes. So Maxey's really just been awesome this year.
He really has, and what? Also, Tobias Harris.
And Tobias Harris has been good.
He's been sneaky good this year. For them.
Yeah. He has his ups and downs. That's just the kind of player he is. But yes, he's been good. I feel like he's more confident now. It's not, the ball doesn't stick around too much. I will say, sometimes you still get those possessions where Embiid's just holding it. He's in the mid-range area. He's pump faking like 10 times before he pulls up for a mid-range shot. So, you do get some of those like really slow possessions. Yep. But all in all, this team looks great.
They do.
I mean, it's at Philadelphia. Oh, no, it's at Miami, actually, this game.
Miami, yeah.
I'm going to go with the Sixers, though. I just think this team is rolling. I think, with the whole Jimmy, we don't know what's going on with that. Even if he does come back, maybe he's playing a little hurt. It's just I think the only thing I will say is when you look at the Heat, the stats, other than the 3-point percentage, like they never wow you in the regular season. And then they get into these games and they're
always
pull
in
out
the middle of it.
And they're always in the middle
of it. And something worth mentioning, the Heat don't have a very good home record.
Okay. They didn't look at that. What's the record at home?
I don't know it from the top of my head, but I do know that the 76ers are tied for the best road record in the NBA. So I already see that, as a recipe for disaster for the Heat, especially now that Embiid is playing at a ridiculous level.
He's on Christmas. He knows he's on TV. I mean, he's on national television often, but Yeah.
So something that he have always done with Embiid is that they've always tried to make him a passer.
Yeah.
And this year, he's definitely improved his playmaking.
That's right.
He's averaging 6 assists per game.
Yeah.
For a big man, that's huge. I mean, I know that we're become numb because we see, Giannis and the great Joker.
Yeah.
But this guy is doing a fantastic job. Plus, he's averaging, like you said, 35 points a game.
He's insane right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I would love to give you a homer pick, but I just don't see it for the Heat.
Okay. So you're going with Philly too.
Especially if Jimmy is not playing.
Yeah.
I don't see a way for them to beat the Sixers.
Okay. I think that's a rational pick. I just don't see how the Heat would come out and win this. Like you said, the 3-pointers have to be the 3-pointers have to be falling. That's like their best bet. Maybe they get Embiid in foul trouble, right? Like that might happen. I don't know. Other than that, it's
in previous years they've had Harden, and when Harden goes to Miami, you would know about the stories about him, going to clubs the night before.
Yeah, and there's none of that this time.
And then now you don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah,
now you're dealing with what appears to be a more disciplined team.
Yeah.
So like you said, the coaches feels different.
Yeah.
They seem more reliable.
They look reliable. I trust Nick Nurse.
Champion Nick Nurse.
Champion Nick Nurse. All right, so let's move on to the last game. Okay, we took some time on that Sixers Heat one, rightfully so. The two teams are kind of, obviously the Sixers are on a whole other level, but Mavs Suns. Okay, 10:30 p.m. late ass game.
This is the one that nobody.
A lot of
really
people are probably not going to be watching this. This is late, man. This is a late game. So we got Mavs, right? 9-5 on the road. Okay. Both of these teams stumbling into this Christmas game. Yeah. They're really struggling. Luka didn't play last game. I believe he didn't play last game. I think they lost by like 30. I don't have those numbers with me, but here's a couple of things for the Mavs, right? We know 6th offensive rating, right? This is a very good offensive team, but I say it's a very predictable offensive team. I want to see what happens when this team gets to the playoffs because it's going to be that same thing. We know that Luka's going to have the ball in his hands the majority of the time. This is a team that's second in isolation frequency. No surprise. You have Luka, 23% of his offense is isolation. You have Kyrie, right? 16% of his offense is isolation. That's a lot of ISO that these Mavs run. A lot of, they shoot a ton of threes. I think they're second in most in 3-pointers attempted. This is an interesting matchup because the Suns don't shoot a lot of threes, but they do make them at a high clip. So one team shoots a ton of threes. The other team doesn't really shoot a lot of threes, but then you get two teams that are more focused on offense than they are on defense. So this could be a high scoring game because none of these teams defend well.
Yeah, that's something that I was looking at. When you look at their stats. They're both ranked on the bottom third on defense.
Yeah.
So
not good.
And a lot of star power. So you already know it's going to be a lot of action.
Yeah.
A lot of highlight plays, high scoring.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a fun game because this funny rivalry, I feel like is one of the best ones to watch for the drama.
Yeah.
Not so much for the play quality, but for the drama because, the whole bickering between, Luka and
Booker. Yeah.
You have,
but Kyrie might not play.
Oh, man.
Because of that heel injury. I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to be there.
Oh,
I also don't think Derek Lively is going to play. This is like a depleted Mavs roster. Obviously, they're not going to get Bradley Beal, right? The Suns aren't going to have Beal. It's going to be,
Oh, so then at that point, I could see now why the Mavs have lost so many in a row.
Yeah, they've had a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
No Lively, no Kyrie. Grant Williams has kind of been on and off, like performance-wise, I don't know. It's like, Luka's shooting 40% on step-back threes. That's interesting, because we know he's like historically hasn't been a good 3-point shooter so far. Obviously, he's still young. So that's definitely something that we know he has to work on. But that step-back 40% on threes, that's...
it's close to averaging a triple-double. 32, 9 assists, 8.5 rebounds a game.
What's funny? The Suns are not a good defensive team, but then you're looking at the blocks. They're number 1 in blocks this year.
That's interesting.
Drew Eubanks, 29 blocks. Nurkic, 32. KD, 26. Okogie has 12. Eric Gordon has 12. Grayson Allen has 11. Like, these guys
Gordon?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
and I went and watched, because you can actually go to their block stats, and if you click that hyperlink, it'll show you all their blocks.
But is it the
clips.
blocks when they swipe down?
It's the swipe blocks.
Okay,
so like little strips, but hey, it's in blocks.
It's a stat.
Yeah.
Block is a
So
block.
I don't know, and speaking of guys on a tear, because we talked about Luka, KD is averaging 31 on 51% from the field, 46% from three, and the dude is he's just unstoppable, bro. I don't know what I don't understand. Like, is he ever? I don't think he's ever gonna slow down. He's one of those dudes that everyone thought that he's gonna age well, because at the very least he's so tall that he can just shoot over everyone.
That is true.
But this is just awesome. This is awesome stuff. I'm gonna go with the Suns. I think they both haven't been good recently. The Suns have been struggling. They lost to Portland the other day. Like,
they're both, they lost 4 of their last 5, both teams.
yeah.
So
I'm gonna put my money on Booker and KD. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just
I just think Luka is still
at home,
one of the top 5 players.
Yeah.
Listen, with the Suns, it doesn't matter if they're at home.
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna take
That's a
the
good point.
Dallas Mavericks just because I trust Luka.
Okay.
Because at the beginning of the year or before the season started, I had no faith in this team.
Yeah.
And surprisingly,
In the Mavs.
on the Mavs,
We
sorry.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neither of us believed that they would be able to achieve anything.
And here they are.
Surprisingly, they started very well into this recent skid.
Yeah.
I still believe that Luka being a top 5 player gets you. Well, now I believe.
Yeah.
Him being a top 5 player has to give you 45 wins. And
Well, he's probably the best pick and roll player in the NBA. I mean, this guy
the
figures
best
out.
Harden's MVP
He's
season.
insane. He makes the right pass when it needs to be made. The only time that it doesn't work out is when they miss the shot. Like, there's so many plays. I think some of his best passes have been on missed threes. Like, he'll find someone in an insane way and they miss the shot, So this guy, he just gets you offense,
Derek Lively may not play.
That's a big loss.
Yeah, because they don't have any centers.
Yeah, that's a big loss. I'm going Suns because I like the home factor. I also like KD and Christmas, so and Luka's really good as well. This guy, he's gonna perform every night. I'm gonna go Suns. You're gonna go Mavs, right? So we can stay on that. I like that we split. So we split on Warriors Nuggets. We split on Mavs Suns. Everything else we agreed. I think that happened to us last year. Yeah.
Lakers Celtics.
Lakers Celtics. We both picked Lakers.
Agreed, yeah.
We both went Bucks. We both went Sixers. So yeah, that's about it.
I think this might be his best season.
All right. So anyways, let me flash this real quick. Anyways, let's do the letter to Santa. I actually didn't announce this before. We did a little group chat with the high school basketball team that I'm kind of helping out with one of my friends who's the coach for them. They signed their names up for an Evo basketball that I'm gonna be announcing the winner to. So without further ado, Mr. Gus, please put the right code before you open the all right, and we're gonna reveal the name of the winner of this basketball. Let's see who. I don't even know who it is.
Here you go, sir.
Did they whisper it to you?
They did actually in my ear.
It told you?
I
Okay,
can't
let's
tell
see.
you.
Let's see who. Robert. Honestly, I don't even think I met Robert. This is pretty good handwriting, to be honest. Evo basketball winner. Would have been cool if we had like an envelope, but this was like last second type thing. All right, so Robert on WhatsApp, he's Robert N. I don't know his last name.
Maybe there's more than one Robert.
No, he's the only Robert that signed up.
Oh.
So Robert, Evo basketball is yours.
Congratulations.
All you have to do is share the link to this YouTube video on your Instagram or wherever you want to share it, and the basketball is yours, my friend. Gus, appreciate you showing up, man.
Thank you for having me.
Always appreciate you here. I'll throw another invitation. We'll think of something else. We could do another video pod.
Pre-All-Star.
Pre-All-Star, whatever we can do. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you to the directors. Obviously, your wife is back there. My girl is back there. They're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah. Producers of the podcast.
They're not bad.
Real heroes.
Yeah, they're the heroes. All right. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays. This is the All Things Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Vic Lopez, as always. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Feliz Navidad.